Hey everybody, Kaysha here, and today I am here with my friend
Jennifer Guskin,
and we need your help. We are right now working on advocacy for combating human trafficking, and here's why. So we'll give you a little bit of background of our story and why we're doing what we're doing.
I was adopted as an infant by a couple who sold me throughout my childhood. I have been to Epstein Island and on multiple Lolita Express types of flights as a child. After I went public, Child Protective Services opened a substance-exposed newborn case, even though all tests came back negative, and they told me that if I wouldn't stop posting on social media, I would never see my daughter again. I started to connect how I was adopted as an infant and then sold throughout my childhood, how many other children who have been through the adoption, foster, and CPS pipelines have also been trafficked to Epstein's Elk.
And as many of you guys know already, based on the work that we do at the Karis Project, I'm an American Indian born in Canada under the Jay Treaty. My father and I were exposed in the improper contagion mitigation for the COVID pandemic in early 2020. As a result of this, I lost everything: house, cars, corporate assets, jobs. Bank accounts were shut down in Canada, and I fled to the US as an American Indian, fully documented, and was trafficked by rogue agents in ICE and other agents in the government, and forced to live with single American men. I was even imprisoned for 7 months initially, and then trafficked throughout the states. Put on full surveillance tracking and wasn't allowed to leave the city, house, or state without permission, or work without permission. And that happened for many years, and I was on and off the streets because of that, and in and out of shelters. And that is just a small example of what many go through in this trafficking system, be it the family courts or otherwise. So that's why the Karis Project will be going to DC to speak with representatives and do live reporting. We're also going to be in contact with other families who are dealing with human trafficking, and through the CPS courts or through any other means, lesser versions of trafficking, and doing reporting on them live and otherwise. We will also be working on, we ultimately want to shine light on what's going on with the trafficking here in the US. And we also want to meet with various agencies in DC, and we'll be going back and forth for training sessions and other things so that we can be better equipped to help people deal with resolving some of the issues that we're seeing. We will also be putting forth petitions in government to help people get justice, and that's something that we have been working on already so far. We have some petitions that have recently been filed in the state of Colorado, Michigan, Texas, and Arizona, and we will be continuing.
But we can't do this on our own. We will be traveling to events and training courses, as well as DC on a consistent basis. We also have to get acceptable equipment, such as computers, cameras, interview gear, etc. There will be other miscellaneous costs that would also be like gas, food, and rooms if necessary.
So that is why we are working towards combating human trafficking, and that is exactly why we need your help. We cannot do this alone, and most what the Karis Project does is on its own dime. And so we do love and appreciate each and every one of you that support us and all the work that we do. As many of you know, we also live stream on Lindell TV every day. And everything we do, like I said, is on our own dime. So we appreciate all the love and support and all the people who do donate. And we would very much love and appreciate that still. Thank you everybody for your time and considerations, and thank you for all the support, and we will catch you guys in the next one, and hopefully we might see you guys in the future and come across you and maybe be able to do some great things together.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the Karis Project podcast. Today we have with us Sam Anthony. He is the founder of Your News, and he is fighting for citizen journalism and free speech, and has done so in the United States and looking to move it into Canada as well, where we desperately need it. And of course, my daughter, the host, Kaysha. Sam, you want to just introduce yourself to our audience, please?
Sure. My name's Sam Anthony. I run a hyper-local news platform, and the domain is yournews.com. We operate currently in every city in the United States, and we do local news in pretty much every market. There's approximately 210 markets in the United States. And we're looking to expand into Canada because I'm getting a lot of pressure from people in Canada to open up there. So I'm in the process of getting that put together. But ultimately, what I do will replace the legacy media.
I like talking to myself sometimes. It happens
Okay.
frequently. But I can't do that when we're on the air. We desperately need some changes to the legacy media because they're definitely not telling the truth, especially here in Canada while we have an election going on, and they're suppressing anything that is against the current um, ruling party, which I mean is no different than the Democrats, probably worse here in Canada than what you guys have down there. So there's definitely a need for a free speech platform. So, what made you decide to go into doing a free speech platform?
Dale, that's a good question. And I will tell you, I've been doing this for a lot of years. This is not something I just started a couple of weeks ago. I've been doing this for a long time. And never in a million years did I ever think the media was lying. And the comical part is my partner has always been telling me the media is lying, and I'm like, what would be their upside? There's none. So when I finally figured out they were lying is when Trump won the election in 2016, and all of a sudden they all turned on him and started manufacturing absolute lies. I mean, they made it so obvious it wasn't even funny. That's when I realized what we're doing is actually far more important than what I thought. So it was at that moment I said, all this legacy media is an antiquated product. It's all going to be gone. What's going to replace it is a hyper local news platform, which has a social component like any platform where the public can interact, because all the platforms that allow the public to interact gain all the traction and have all the traffic. So you're going to have a social component where the public can interact, and some kind of monetization model where content creators can make a living off of their work. And it could we could post news or publish news to a city, county, market, state, regional, or national, and then a self-service ad platform where Joe's Pizza can buy an ad and target it right down to one zip code or anywhere in between. So this is where everything's headed. We're the only player in this space, and it's extremely important that what we do ends up replacing the legacy media. There's just a massive void that needs to be filled, and I'm the only player doing it. So ultimately, that's why I say what I do will replace the legacy media.
So, do you have any ability for, like, say, if there's local citizen journalists that want to go in and record live stream? Do you have any capability for that yet, or is that something that you might have in the works?
So we do audio, video, Dale. We also do written content. The live streaming, what they usually will do is put it to YouTube or to Rumble and share the embed code with us, and it automatically live streams through our site. I don't have ability, like right now, this show, which is live streaming on Your News. It's there. It's in my multimedia section. If I could share my screen, which I don't think I can, then I would be able to show you that. But yeah, so we do it. Yes.
Okay, so if somebody's a content creator and they want to go and do that, how would they do it? Like, somebody's signing up, because I've had some people come in and ask me, and if they wanted to go and say, for example, live stream, do they send it to you? Is there something they put it on
No.
themselves?
No, we have 5,000 content creators on the site, so nobody sends me anything. They just submit it themselves. So the way it works is there's two types of content creators. You have the non-monetized, and then you have the monetized content creators. So if you're somebody that is a PR firm or a nonprofit, or you're somebody that just has an opinion and you want to post, or maybe you have something you want to sell, like it goes in our classifieds. When you log into Your News, at the top of the page, there is a submit your news button, and you click that, create an account, you can post. If you want to become a monetized journalist, that's different. you're going to go down to the bottom of the page, and there's a button down there that says become a citizen journalist. You click that, scroll down, there's an application you fill out. We look at it to make sure that nobody's putting anything, or, we want to make sure nobody's nuts that we're allowing to get in here. So we try and screen it as best we can. We like to look at people's, if they have a Facebook page, a Twitter page, or an X page, their LinkedIn page, typically we want to see all that stuff. But when they get activated, they get an email with instructions on how to use the dashboard. And now they can become local news reporters and cover local events. I mean, we call them citizen journalists because at the end of the day, there's a lot of people on my platform that have never been in the news business that are now news reporters locally, just like there's millions of people or hundreds upon hundreds of millions of people on YouTube that never were in the broadcast industry.
Oh, that's actually pretty good. A lot of people, if they have a platform in which they can get their information out, that makes more sense, especially with what you're watching. I mean, the money that's being paid, and we've seen this with what Elon Musk and the Doge has been uncovering all of this unlawful use of funds. I mean, to suppress people from telling the truth, this should not happen, and it's important to have citizen journalism because who's got a vested interest in reporting the truth in their community? The people that live there, right? It makes sense. So
yeah,
what other like, how does somebody, they come in, they sign up and whatever else like that, and do they have anything? You said they have different levels of news. So how does somebody gauge whether it's going to be just local or national or within the state or something?
It's pretty simple. If somebody puts up their kid's Little League game, it's not national news. It's sports news for that city. But if it's the high school football game, or local sports, it's going to run to the market. It still gets tagged to the sports section, but the distribution of the content is going to be more zip codes, more counties. But then obviously if it's the Monday Night Football game, it still tags sports, but it runs to all zip codes. So that's how we organize information. It's how we live. All news is either city, county, market, state, regional, or national. So I always explain this. I live in Florida. If Governor DeSantis signed a bill into law, does anybody care in the other 49 states? The answer is no. It runs in politics, but just for the state of Florida. That's it.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, that's it seems reasonable and so forth. So how is this, like, how much like viewership or readership do you guys have? Do you have any idea of that? Or
I do. Yeah. We're running right now around 500,000 a month. Last year we had about 5.4 million people consume over 104 million articles almost. I think it was about 104 million. Yeah. I mean, it's just the user base. So think of me as Facebook for news, and the magic formula to any social site is real simple. Content equals readership. So Dale, if you came to my site and posted a story like your kid's Little League game, you're going to share that on social media. Grandma and grandpa's going to see that story, right? It's just how it works. So if you have one user, you're going to have X amount of traffic. If you have 10 users, you have 10 times X. If you have 100 users, right? Yes. And by the way, remember, there's 20,000 cities. There's 3,300 counties. There's 210 markets, right? So for news, the legacy media is declining. I mean, I don't need to sell this to anybody. Everybody knows that the newspapers are just hanging on by a thread, right? I mean, most of it's all syndicated content at this point, and their infrastructures have declined. I live in Palm Beach County. The Palm Beach Post had 1,600 employees back in 2000. I bet you they don't have more than 40 people right now. I mean, it's a joke. I mean, look, I have more news reporters. This is the whole thing. And I'm going to tell you, I don't remember if I told you the numbers. The average age of the cable news viewer is north of 70. So it's higher than 70 years old. Yes. Wow. Okay, well, wait. So Adweek just came out with the numbers. Fox News, which was the biggest, this is for the first quarter, had a total of 3 million viewers for 3 months. Okay, now it gets worse. So remember, the older generation is still tuning into the networks because that's how they were raised. It's the younger generation that are on TikTok and that are on Instagram, and they're getting alternative news in other places. So out of that 3 million, 388,000 were between the age of 25 and 54. Okay. So now I'm going to do the next ones was MSNBC, which had 1 million viewers in the quarter. That's not in a day. It's not in a month. It's in a freaking quarter. Okay.
1 million viewers?
For the quarter. Okay.
Oh.
And 54 or 7, let's just say under 60,000 people were between the ages of 25 and 54. Then CNN, are you ready for this? Had 580,000, or just say 90, because it might have been 588. I think it was 588 for the quarter. And they had 79,000 people between the age of 25 and 54. My point is, there's 100 million people in that age range. Where the hell are they? They're not watching cable news. So here's the whole point of this, the whole conversation. The 70-year-olds are going to be dead faster than the 30-year-olds. Agreed?
Oh, yes.
Right? Okay. So as that era goes out, the networks leave. It's over. Okay. It's not going to survive. So that's why I was saying, look, when was the last time you sent a telegraph? When was the last time you got in a horse and buggy? You didn't, because somebody else created another product that replaced it. The telegraph was replaced by the telephone. The horse and buggy was replaced by the automobile. So there's always a product that replaces something else. So I'm here to tell you what is going to replace it is not going to be X. It's going to be a hyper local news platform. So just think of the Chicago Tribune or the Miami Herald in every zip code in the United States, right? Yes. It's got mega scale. Most likely it'll be global. Like I told you, I'm going to open up Canada. Well, eventually I'm going to get the UK and everywhere else. It'll have a social component where everyone can contribute and everybody can have a voice. In essence, Dale, putting the power of the press in the hands of the people. It'll have a monetization model like YouTube does. Everybody understands YouTube monetizes, right? So does X, so does Facebook, so does Rumble, where content creators and somebody could write a story about the high school football game in any market. We publish it to the sports section to that market. And what they do is they share it on their social media pages to the people that follow their type of content. Maybe they like all the sports news. And when they click the link to read the story on our site, we sell the ads and it drops off money into their account. Make sense? Pretty freaking simple.
Oh, yeah.
And then a self-service ad platform like all the other tech giants, where Joe's Pizza can log in and buy an ad and run that ad around the content they want to, right down to one zip code if they want.
Oh, that makes things easier, so they could selectively target their markets fairly easy based on their zip codes.
Exactly. So look, what I do is already done on all the networks. I mean, I'm not talking the TV networks, but on like the tech giants. Facebook could sell zip code ads. LinkedIn could probably sell them. I don't know if they do, but but certainly Facebook could and X can. But nobody does it around news. And the void I fill, are you ready for this? On LinkedIn Navigator, there is 490,000 people that call themselves freelance journalists. For those of you who don't know what that means, it means I don't have a job. Okay. They're looking to make money because they're part of the downsizing of the legacy media. Those are the people advertising. Then I have no idea how many student journalists there are, how many people are going to college that are studying journalism. Dale, who's hiring? Name one company that's hiring. No, seriously. Everybody's getting laid off. So the reason I'm telling you this is I'm a natural fit for all of them. And the cream's going to rise to the top. Look, on YouTube, for the most part, I mean, there are people that used to work for Fox or CBS and ABC that have YouTube channels, but 99.999% of them do not have that, right? They weren't part of broadcasting on a national network. They're just somebody that said, you know what, I want to be a political broadcaster, or I want to have my own golf show, or I want to have my own a home and garden show, or my own cooking show. Okay. And the cream rises to the top. Some people make it, some people don't. Just how it works. It's all based on the type of content you're producing and what kind of audience you attract. It works the same with me. You know, if nobody likes your stuff, you're not going to make it. So the beauty, by the way, this is why the mainstream media doesn't like this kind of stuff, because now anybody can do their job. And by the way, if you ever watch mainstream media, pretty much anybody can do it better.
Well, yes, they're just reading a script rather than telling what should be done. Like, you listen to them, and I can't. You see it all over social media where they just see them repeating the same story on a bunch of different news networks, no matter where you're going, and it's like, well, come on, like anybody can do that, and actually, the citizens are doing it better because they're going around showing what's happening in their community, which this is the way it should work. Right?
Exactly. Look, it's the next generation news platform is what we do. Kaysha, by the way, do you have any questions on this? Can she hear, or
you're muted, Kaysha.
You're muted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep going in and out. I'm trying to listen. It sounds, but I'm getting some of it, but it sounds pretty good. Like the ability to actually have that the
of course
people be the press to the people, and they have the opportunity, like where they attribution for. I don't know if you guys are even hearing me.
We hear you. We hear you. Yeah, no. Look, it's the natural evolution. Look, there's people out there, there's some people that, somebody could be very proactive in the community, could be a soccer dad or a soccer mom, and they're proactive in the community, and they go out to all the city council meetings and the school board meetings, right? All they have to do is write a story about it. Come home, write a story and submit it to us, and they become the next news reporter in town. I mean, that's really what news reporting is I was there, here's what happened, right?
I mean, pretty much Kaysha's been doing investigative journalism for the last, 4.5 years, running across the United States.
And it's good that you get paid for it.
Kaysha, so your dad has an account, which is both of yours. You could set up your own, right? And you could cover anything you want. I don't care if it's the high school football game, you could do a city council meeting in the market. You could cover the White House. Hell, you could go to DC. By the way, somebody from Fox News that lost their job just signed up out of DC. They're a news correspondent for DC. They just signed up with me. So I don't have credentials for the White House, but they will give them to me. You kidding me? I got more news reporters than everybody. Okay.
Right.
I mean, if anybody gets it, it's me, right? I mean, we could have somebody that goes there and reports on it. So yeah, I mean, the game plan here, you remember the scale. There's 20,000 cities in the United States. So if I only had 5 people a city, it's 100,000 news reporters.
Yeah.
You see what I'm talking about? And the politics is the smallest thing I do, guys. I mean, I'm big into auto racing right now, Formula One to be exact. Okay. And that comes from outside people that cover it. I'm their distribution and monetization. Think about it. It's the scale. So the bigger I get, the more content creators come on, the larger the audience grows, the more ad revenue it attracts. Yes. The more money gets dispersed.
Yes.
This is simple.
Yes, it's very, very simple. And a lot of some of the stuff you brought over today makes a lot of sense, where you can see a lot of fit and a lot of use for this. If it's, people are directed on how to do this the right way and getting the right types of things, this is a very good platform in which to do things with, because if people think of it because they hear your news, they think of it of just news, but you have it would be like a newspaper where you had your classified section, you had your other different sections, whatever you had, your sports, entertainment, and all that kind of stuff, where you could kind of do that sort of platform, not just like watching Fox or ABC or something like that, where you just got news, right?
Yeah, this is far bigger than you could possibly imagine. It is Google big, and I'm the only player. So like any business that's out there, the only reason a business succeeds is because it fills a void. correct? Right?
Yes.
So, YouTube cornered the video market. eBay cornered the auction market. Amazon cornered the consumer market, right? We could go on. I don't know what market Twitter covered, the Twitter market, whatever the hell that is, right? But all of a sudden, then you take a company like Rumble, and Rumble started in 2013, but everybody remembers Rumble in 2020 because after COVID, everybody went there, right? Well, why? It's because YouTube kicked off probably 10 or 20,000 people in the US. It created a void. Rumble filled the void. That's it. The void I fill is millions. And there's nobody that does what I do. Understand? Like I'm not competing with a YouTube or with an Amazon or with an eBay. It's me. I'm the only game in town. So when we go in, my goal is to move those million people to me, let the cream rise to the top. And we now control the media markets. And it's important that we have freedom of speech. That's the most important. Like, I know a lot of people that you guys would probably know, like Mark Fincham and I talk all the time. And Mark told me the other day, Sam, the most important thing you do is you completely decentralize the news business and democratize it, right? So it's decentralization of news, and everybody knows what I'm talking about, because we would not be in the mess we're in today if it wasn't for the mainstream media. The reason we're in the mess, everybody knows it, but there's 6 companies that control the legacy media, right? 6 institutions that control the messaging. Everybody's seen the Sinclair Broadcasting with the 6 companies saying the same thing at the same time, right? It's all centralized news. What we do is decentralize it. And I'm going to tell you a story that I never knew until I heard this from a couple journalists. Then I asked Alex Newman. He said the same thing. When you're a journalist and you work for the New York Times or the Miami Herald or any newspaper or radio or TV station, what happens is you bring let's say you have a big story you've been working on as an investigative journalist for a year, and you complete it, you dot every I, you cross every T, you bring it to the newspaper. The newspaper gives it to the review board, and the review board decides if it's going to run or not. And in a lot of cases, they don't run them. Do you want to know why? They don't give you an answer. It's somebody's cousin, their brother. It's maybe a big advertiser. They don't want to lose the money. The point is that it's under their control. And for a big one, everybody knows the Epstein case with Amy Robach, where they wouldn't allow her to do it. Everybody knows that one. Okay. That's called censorship, even for them. I mean, they had the story was going to run that day, and somebody called and said, squash that story.
Yeah.
Why? Okay, so here's how my platform works. You're the reporter, you're the editor, and you're the review board. So you run it. If you think it's good, you run it. That's it. So this is going to scare the living crap out of a lot of politicians.
Which needs to happen, because we need
all I'm saying.
Accountability, because if you don't have a media that properly reports what the government is doing, who's going to be able to hold them accountable? Because people will be oblivious to what they're doing until it gets really, really bad, which is what we're seeing now. Because none of us thought that the government was to this level. Everybody's like, yes, there's some stuff going on, but then, like, especially 2020 happened, everybody's like, what, right? So it's important. It's very important for people to cover this. We're going to take a short commercial break here. I wanted to ask a couple of questions when it comes to doing the media. Actually, before we do that, do you guys have an app yet for your?
So we were kicked off of the Google Play Store and off of Apple, because, are you ready for this? I'm going to give you the exact quote. The content contradicted Fauci. That was the reason that we got kicked off.
The content contradicted Fauci.
That's it. Those words right there. That was the only reason. Okay. The biggest liar on planet Earth, right? That's the reason I got kicked off. So I got freaking pissed. And I said, you know what? So my developer says, screw them. Let's develop a web application, which means we control it, which means it doesn't matter, because if they change something, they could stop ads. So if you go to your phone and you type in yournews.com, at the bottom, it'll say install. Just hit install and install the freaking app. And now you got an app, and now it's under our control. I got 100,000 people that have it. Okay.
Oh,
now I will tell you that I bought some tech, which is an app that's going to go back in the Apple Play Store and the Google Play Store. I bought it from somebody, and they're still working on it to get it done. It's going to have, and so is ours, by the way. It's going to have a little more capabilities, like Substack capabilities, and it's going to have like where you could follow a specific journalist, because what I'm trying to do is create a platform where news reporters like yourself are going to be able to make a living off of this. Now, the revenue model that we have is scalable and can generate billions a quarter, which means that money is going to be dispersed to the people who are generating the bulk of it, right? The guy who has, it's still going to work like YouTube, where you have that 80-20 rule, because there's going to be, if a Tucker Carlson comes on board and posts a story and shares it on his social media pages, that news story is going to get more traction than somebody who has 3,000 followers. Okay. It's just how it's going to work. Yes. But what I want to have a follow button on every article where somebody can follow you guys. And so over time, as you build your audience, when you post and we publish, it automatically sends an alert. If you have 5,000 followers, there's 5,000 people that are going to come in to read your story or watch your video. And you instantly get paid without doing anything.
Well, that's good. We need to have more incentive for people to go in and put out the truth.
Well, look, how do you communicate with 5,000 people and let them know you just did it? Well, they're opting in to do this. So that we're in the process of doing that. We also have an author page for every author. So after like you guys do have an author page. So when you submit a story, everything you submit to me will end up coming on that author page, and that author page can be promoted on any other links you have. Follow me here, right? But the whole trick to this is what I do will become the next mainstream media. And so we have to make it a viable product where people can make a living off of this. And that's just part of the tech, right?
Yes.
So go ahead. We going to go to a break, or?
Yeah, we're going to take a short commercial break. We need to hear from the Pillow Man himself.
Sounds good.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to announce the next generation of energy drinks, Rev 7. It has no sugar and no caffeine. Instead, Rev 7 uses Go BHB. Go BHB is one of the body's primary ketones, and it provides the most efficient and clean fuel that your body needs. It also helps you stay energized all day with no crashes. Not only that, it produces 3 times more brain energy than sugar, which helps boost your memory, focus, and mental sharpness. It also helps reduce stress and helps balance your mood. Rev 7 does all that while being the best tasting energy drink ever. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% today. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7. For a limited time, you get our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. I drink Rev 7 every day, and I absolutely love it, and so will you.
Just kind of circling back. Oh, yes. Before that, if you need any of the MyPillow products or any of the Rev 7, you can go to mypillow.com/Karis or call 800-845-2942. Use the promo code Karis. They got lots of good stuff. Go check it out. Kind of circling back that they wouldn't let you on the App Store because it contradicted Fauci. But
exact words. Exact. Okay.
But it's being reported that he lied in congressional hearings. So they're punishing you for someone that everybody knows lied and was on the public record that he lied.
But that was 5 years ago or 4 years ago. Remember, it's 2025 now. So when I was in there back in 2020, we already had an app. They just removed them.
Oh, that's just grimy and they won't restore it. They won't give it back now. They won't change.
Well, they probably will. I mean, look, at this stage of the game, I really don't care. Okay. Because I have a web application. Everybody, when you go to my site, it'll at the bottom, there's an ad there that says download the app. You just take the photo of the image and it installs it on your phone. And I have literally 100,000 plus people that have this app already. Right. So it doesn't really matter. But I control it. That's the most important thing, because if they do some change, we have to change on our end. Maybe things aren't displaying. Also, they could remove ads if they don't like them. So go ahead.
So you can get this on Apple through the web app, Apple, Android, regardless. And then you have complete control over it.
So right now we're not on there. I'm going to re-add them. They will take them now because the crime has already been committed and they've already got away with it.
Yes.
But most likely, if the government does something else bad and we report on it, they'll probably remove it again. Okay, they're not here to help.
Yes,
okay?
I know. I get that. But your web app, you can download it on any phone right now.
Yeah, so if you have a phone, just do me a favor. Go to yournews.com on your phone and look at the bottom. It'll say install. Just hit the button and follow the instructions. It takes 1 second. It's that simple.
Okay.
So this way now we don't have to worry. Nobody can remove it.
Yeah.
Ever. Yes. It's called the web application. It's the same as an app. I mean, but nobody could ever remove it. We can control it.
Well, which is good, so that people can have their app there so that they can go ahead and do whatever they need, and that'll work so that they can get their news, because everybody a lot of people, especially the younger people, use their phones a lot to get everything. I mean, I'm a little older and you can see I'm wearing glasses. I like to have the bigger screen to read better, but the younger kids all like their phones, right?
That's how, our consumption on our site is probably 60-40. I mean, keep in mind, we do news, we do hard news. And so there's not a lot of 20-year-olds reading hard news, right? They're usually people that have kids, a house. And so, you're talking that 40 to 70 range is where those people are consuming information. And a lot of them, like people send me a text, or something, and I always email it to my computer so I can look at it. I don't like looking at anything on this thing. I mean, I'm 60 years old, for God's sake. You look like you're 38 or 40, and you look like you're 20 years old, Kaysha. I mean, so, you're doing everything here, but I'm doing everything right here. I mean, if I could put this this computer in my pocket, I'd walk around with this, right? It's just easier.
Yes, it is. So with that though, you've gotten your work. When do you plan to get into Canada? You just mentioned that. You have a kind of a time frame where you're thinking that you'll get there?
It's a good question. My developer's figuring out what it's going to take. He calls it what the lift is to do it. Then he's going to give me the price tag to do it, right? And then, I'm assuming it's not going to be that much. I mean, maybe 5 or 10 grand. So I'll tell him, get it done. So I would say in the next month or less, it'll be done.
Okay, well that would be good, because they definitely need information, because they've got a lot of things coming down the pipeline, and talking about wanting to suppress social media such as X and things like that to combat misinformation, right?
So, oh God, they're gonna freaking hate me. That's all I'm going to tell you, because all the content that's going to be flying out of there is going to be with all the people like you that are trying to get information out. And I told them, I can't even think of all their names. One guy's Chris, the other guy's Wayne Peters. There's another gentleman in there too. I'm doing this for all of them, but they told me that I told them, look, your guys are responsible for getting the local news content, for getting all that stuff going, because I got the United States. I mean, you guys are only 10% of the United States. We're massive in scope. Aren't you like 30 million or something like that? 35 million?
40 million now. But yeah.
So you're still like 10% almost. I mean, 11%, 12%, whatever it is. I mean, so I got a much bigger job here, right? If I look up on LinkedIn how many freelance journalists there are in Canada, there's nowhere near as many as there are in the United States. Yeah, I could do it, but
not even close. And then there's a lot of them, the ones that were doing it, they made sure that they couldn't survive doing it, so they had to do things elsewhere, or you just take money from the wrong people and just say whatever they tell you to. Right? This is just the way it goes in Canada. It's very restrictive here. You pretty much we're almost like China, almost 100% there. Like with the restrictiveness of the media, it's state funded. Like a lot of it comes top down pressure, not as much independent. We need more of that.
So, if I may say, the mainstream media here in the U.S. has been lying through their teeth for the past, well, God knows how long, but let's just say the last 8 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you're sitting here scratching your head, going, "Well, who the hell's paying them to say this?" Because I mean, this is nuts, and oh, it's a conspiracy. Well, then Trump wins, Doge gets in, they find something called USAID, and next thing you know, billions of dollars are going to the media. So it's no longer some conspiracy theory. It's actually factual. Please, Politico. Guys, I'm a freaking internet expert when it comes to scalability and investments. I'm telling you right now, Politico didn't have a chance on its own. $37 million from the United States government. $37 million. Let me say it again. Okay. 160 million dollars was spread out over 6,000 journalists. Okay. I don't even know all the numbers because you forget them all because you're getting hit with things 30 times a day with, could you believe they spent this and they did this? And, you're like, all of a sudden the numbers are just rattling around in your head. You don't even know what went where, but it's absolutely disgusting. And, I'm going to be happy to burn it down. Okay.
Oh yes. Even
So
Canadian dollars went to USA.
Yeah, I'm on a mission. So, look, the good news is they're all going to go out of business. If I shut down, there's not going to be a Fox in 5 years. It will never happen. Okay. There's not enough viewership. Look at CNN, 588,000 in 3 months. I'm bigger than them this month. Okay. I'm bigger than them. So as we add more content creators, you have to know your audience grows, which makes me the 10,000-pound gorilla. But I'm not interested so much in the power as in making sure you guys have it. That's it. Information is power. So he who controls all the information has all the power. Well, I don't want it. I want you guys to have it. So this puts the power of the press in your hands. That's the most important thing. Decentralize, democratize, and put the power of the press in the hands of the people. Well, it's extremely important. By the way, I've had a couple conversations brief with Mike Lindell, but I've never had a conversation with him about this. We used to air Lindell TV live, but then they switched to Rumble because they used to have their own embed code. And they switched to Rumble, and Rumble just doesn't have the tech. And completely, they do for individual posts, but not when it comes to a channel code. And it completely shut down our site. We had to take it down because I was up until last month. You guys know Ed Zoll, right? I would assume you do, right? So, Ed was the one that gave it to me. I had to remove it.
Really?
Yeah. The Rumble code does not work. It makes it so page loads on my site are sometimes a minute.
Really?
Yeah.
So what can you use as an alternative to that?
Well, YouTube, but I don't think that's going to happen. Okay. And then Lindell had his own. He had his own, which was phenomenal. It worked great. Like I have Patriot TV up there. They're not using Rumble. They're not using YouTube. It's their live stream. So all I do is take their live stream and I create a channel from it, and people could come here and watch Lindell. I have Tucker Carlson up there. I have One America News. I have Real America's Voice. I have Newsmax, but I had to take off Lindell.
Yeah, we should talk about that on the back end and see of different solutions for that, because I mean, if Rumble is doing something grimy, that's
not grimy. It's the channel code. So like when you guys submit a video through your embed code, it works great. But then they have something called a channel code, which can play if you have a channel, it'll play live stream. it just
I don't mean that they're doing grinding. They just sometimes the way they fix stuff or don't fix stuff, or where they prioritize, is sometimes a little bit disorganized, let's just say. Right?
Yeah, look, I know there's a lot of moving parts, and I'm sure they're doing the best they can. I mean, remember, YouTube got funded with billions.
Yes.
They did. So,
but I mean, alternative solutions until somebody starts doing what they need to do, right? Because I'm sure they probably end up having the same problems as everybody else who tries to tell the truth. But at the end of the day, it still doesn't solve a problem. But being able to stream and having that sort of multimedia thing there, that would be also a good thing. That should be a conversation that should be had again to sort of
listen. I was talking to Allison. She's like, you want to get on Lindell? I go, sure. He needs to know what I do. I mean, this is kind of big.
Yeah, we should talk after this and have a discussion about that, because there's a lot of opportunity with this because of the way the platform is. And even with what we're doing here, we've been networking and working to get things across the grassroots. And your platform like this would be very advantageous to doing that, especially here in Canada, because we work with people across all over, Canada, United States, because we see the value in having free speech. If you don't have free speech, you've got nothing, right? And that's part of that, is being able to have freedom of the press, which then allows people to see what their government is doing so that they can make the best decision, whether it's local, state, provincial, federal. You need to know what the people that you put in power are doing so that you can live your life without interference, right?
Agreed.
Yeah.
That's why what I do is so important, right? So this is why I'm on a mission to get it done, and it's going to happen whether I do it or not. So why can't it be us? And you need somebody that is, my interest in this is really, remember, I've got a kid, I've got 2 grandkids. I mean, I don't want them growing up in this freaking world, right? The way it is. So it all needs to be fixed. Well, we happen to be lucky here in that Trump won the election and now they're cleaning house. And I'm very optimistic on the future of the United States. If Kamala Harris would have won, no, it was over. Would have never, ever came back. But they would have made sure of it. However, when it comes to what Trump is doing, when he first ran, he said he was going to drain the swamp. The swamp drained him. Let's call it the way it is. When this time, he's actually draining. And the way you drain it is you take away all their money so there's no reason to be there. Right? That's really it. Because all that money that Doge uncovered, this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? I mean, they haven't even found all the stuff. All that money was flowing out, goes to these NGOs, which are just shell companies that really get pushed back around to the Democratic Party and refund themselves. And they're basically lining their pockets. And, look at all the politicians that started out. And, for some reason, I just can't think of her name right now. But 2 years ago, she was the black woman that was just, bitching and moaning that, Trump is doing all this stuff. He's a criminal. And
she was James or whatever.
No, her too. But the other one, and I just can't think of her name at the moment.
Yeah.
But
the worst.
Who?
What's that? Say it again.
No, I said Letitia. She's the worst for that.
Oh, she is. But there's another one.
But then he said it wasn't her.
Jasmine Crockett. Okay.
Oh, yes.
And so Jasmine.
Oh,
when she went into Congress, she had a $29,000 net worth, and she's worth $10 million right now in 24 months. Really? Okay, could you do that after taxes? So she made $15 million.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's called somebody who's paying you wrongfully.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, that's my point. I mean, these people are mega wealthy. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm over it. I mean, it's. The only way this is going to stop is you need to drain it. You need to take all the money away. And right now, the most suppressed housing area is DC because everybody's selling. So the average house has come down like 80,000. And the reason is it's all the lobbyists leaving because they have clients. And I'm telling you what it is. And so they have a client. The client says, we need this bill passed. So you know what they say? Good luck with that. We can't bring anything to anybody because nothing's getting passed. So, now they're practicing these words. Welcome to McDonald's, may I take your order? Because they're not getting a job as a lobbyist anymore because no politician can take a nickel because no bills are being passed.
Well,
Think about it.
That's good because you don't want people being able to pay to get something in. You have to get people that are good. You're going to get things in that make sense for the people, right? That's
right.
What you work for.
What you're doing is you're forcing out all the people. Next step, this is just my take, okay? I think you're going to have, like, right now, first of all, they found all this money leaving and going in other places, okay? We all know it was for nefarious reasons, right? We all know.
Yes.
So somebody has to track this stuff. Now, I've never been an investigator before, but Mark Fincham was. He was in law enforcement. And I said to him, Mark, tell me the truth. How long does it take? He goes, Sam, it's going to take about a year. He goes, the money goes here, then goes to 20 other shell companies, then moves back to 40 other people. They got to find every single dollar as it goes. That stuff takes time. Then they have to put it all together. So it's like one big massive spider web. There could be thousands of people that are involved with this. Okay. I bet you half of Congress gets freaking locked up if they do their job. Right. Because, it doesn't matter, Republican, Democrat. It doesn't matter. So the reason these politicians aren't really going against Trump is because they're like, shit, maybe if I say nothing, he'll just let this slide. Okay. What else are you going to do? So this stuff is going to take some time, but imagine cleaning house of most of these people. I don't know this. I'm just telling you, it makes logical sense to me.
Well, I'll tell you, because some of the stuff that we put in there and so forth implicates people that are there right now. And a lot of other government officials that are bureaucrats and whatever else like that they want to protect their hind parts. So when I sit down and look at what I've done, I can imagine how many people are trembling that they're now looking into all of the financial aspects because people were taking money from all sorts that they shouldn't. And they started to get, insider trading and all of this kind of stuff that became very wealthy from being in politics. So, I mean, a lot of people are probably, having to check their underwear right now.
That's my point. Nobody's saying anything because they're thinking if I go along, maybe I'll get, special treatment, right? I only took a couple billion. I mean, it's like, whatever. That guy took 10. I only took 2.
Yes.
So I think that good things are coming. I also think that government's going to shrink probably 60 or 70%. It needs to go to about 99. But, I'm a firm believer that the federal government needs to be just limited to almost nothing. Okay. And let the states do everything. And so if you don't like the state you live in, leave, right? Eventually that state will collapse. And then new people have to come in and figure it out, or it just becomes a third world state.
Yeah.
That's how it works. I think you should have their own money too, right? So if you want to destroy your own currency, go ahead.
Yes. And so quickly before we wrap up, because we're running up here on time, you want to just tell people how they can reach you and so forth, and any information that you want out about the Your News, just again for the people here.
Well, yeah. So if somebody's interested in being a reader, it's yournews.com. If somebody's interested in becoming an actual news reporter, you would go to Your News, go to the bottom of the page and click the button that says become a citizen journalist. If you are just somebody that like is a PR firm or a nonprofit, there's a button at the top that says submit your news. Maybe you want to post a classified or you have an opinion or something like that. You could submit it there. And then guys, did Allison tell you what we're doing with an equity crowdfund? Because I want to explain this to you.
No.
All right. So companies like mine get funded by Silicon Valley, Facebook, and companies that have scale like this, right? They get funded by Silicon Valley. They put $100 million plus into them, or $500 million, and they scale them across the globe. I don't know if you know this, but my ideology is completely different than the people at Silicon Valley. So there is no freaking way they're going to play with me, number one. Number two, I don't want them to. Number three, the reason we're in the mess today is because of the institutional money. So we decided to go a different route. And the different route was, there's like, when you sell stock, because we're doing a capital raise for just expansion, right? Because the bigger I get, the more problems occur. Like if I have 100,000 news reporters, how the hell are you gonna approve all those stories? So you're gonna need an infrastructure to support it. So when you sell stock as a private placement, you have to sell to accredited investors, which basically is the extreme high net worth or the institutional players, right? It's 1% of the population, which means 99% can't participate. And by the way, if you don't believe me, Dale, when Facebook, before it went public, or Amazon or eBay or Uber, Kaysha, did you guys ever get calls from Silicon Valley saying, hey, we have $1 Amazon stock, you want some? Okay, no, because you're not in that game. Right? That all went to the mega wealthy. It went to the Elon Musk of the world. Okay. They owned it. What I'm doing is something different. It's called an equity crowd fund, which means everybody can play. It's done through a brokerage firm. It's still a broker dealer. So the one I use is Issuance Express, which is owned by North Capital Partners. And for people who want to make an investment, they can buy stock in this. And I'm going to tell you the reason why I'm doing this. Remember, I told you I don't want to own it. I want the people to have the product. Because somebody said to me, well, how do we know you're not going to sell out? I go, I'm already selling out. I'm selling it to the people. We're selling the company shares to the public, where people can spend $200 and everywhere in between. This is another thing we're doing. So we've raised a lot of money off of it already, right? So we're going to do this one, finish it, and do another one. Then we're going public.
Oh, nice.
And by the way, if you want to participate in that, just go to Your News, and at the bottom, it'll have invest, and you just click that, and you could read about it. There's a video. If you like what you see, you can make an investment. And it's just, I'm dispersing the product into everybody's hands. So far, there's no liberals that bought in yet. I checked.
Okay. All right, that's good. All right, I'll close here with a prayer here before I give my daughter my final thoughts.
Sure.
And thank you all for coming and watching, everybody. All right, Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your love, grace, and mercy. We thank you for the work that Sam and others like him are doing to get the information out to the people to make the proper choices and help the men and the women to come together to rebuild their families, their churches, their community, and their nation, so that they have some sensibility for the children and that we can protect them from all the wickedness that they've been enduring these last years, is my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Dad, for the prayer as always. And thank you again, Sam, for joining us. I'm sorry, guys. I've been frozen probably more than 80% of this stream.
Poor thing.
There we go. We got.
And that's exactly why we need to pay attention to it. Yeah, guys, go out and check out check out Your News. We all need to be
there you go.
the people. We need to be the information. Anyways, I'll just thanks, everyone for checking in. We'll catch you guys in the next one. And to my dearest Karis, until we meet again, my friend.
All right, we'll see you guys again soon.
Ciao.